let's talk about the history or the results of what Marxism and socialism have brought us, and communism as well. Some great quotes, one from a novelist here. Marxism has not only failed to promote human freedom, it has failed to produce food. There's no question about that, and we'll find out why here in just a minute. Thomas Sowell, the great economist, who's now 90 years old now, says, socialism in general has a record of failure so blatant that only an intellectual could ignore or evade it. If you look at the results of socialism, you go, how does anybody think this would be a good idea? You know why they think it would be a good idea? Because the right people haven't attempted to implement it yet, and we are the right people. Now, you notice how people will say that about socialism, but they will never say that about Nazism. Even Nazis were socialists. No one ever says, you know, Nazism just wasn't implemented right. If we had the right people to implement Nazism, we should do it. But they say that of socialism. Here are two things that Churchill said about socialism. One right after World War II and then a little bit later. He said, the inherent vice of capitalism is the unequal sharing of blessings. The inherent virtue of socialism is the equal sharing of miseries. Yeah, you know, it is true in capitalism, not everybody winds up with the same amount of goods, the same amount of stuff. And they're saying, well, people will say, that's a problem, right? That's a problem. That it's a vice that not everybody comes out equal. Everybody does come out equal with socialism. We're all equally miserable, according to him. He also said this. He said, socialism is the philosophy of failure, the creed of ignorance, and the gospel of envy. It is motivated by envy, if you think about it. You have something I don't have. I'm going to take you down. I'm going to equalize you and me.
You think you're so smart.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. We're going to take you down because I need to have what you have. In fact, I'm going to take it from you. And that's what has led to this. Between 85 and 100 million people were killed in the 20th century by communist socialist regimes. These are the two major culprits, Mao and Stalin. And here's what 𝗧𝗔𝗫 said about it. The guy who wrote Money, Greed, and God. Never has an idea had such catastrophic consequences. It illustrated a grim, simple equation. Extreme moral passion minus reality equals mass deaths. They were so sure of the moral virtue of socialism that everyone had to be equal, that they actually had to kill people to get there. And they never got there. In fact, here's what Richard said elsewhere in the book. Socialism doesn't mean no one controls the property. It means the state must confiscate and control whatever property is in private hands. It means coerce and kill, since most people don't willingly hand over their property to aggressors. The communists tried to draw heaven down to earth. They brought up hell instead. In fact, when the atheists always accuse the Christians of committing atrocities, which Christians have, quite obviously, some of them in the Crusades, they never seem to remember that in the name of atheism and communism and socialism, far more people died in the 20th century than died in the previous 19 centuries combined by murderous means. So, these people who are trying to create utopias on earth wind up creating dystopias. They wind up creating hell on earth.